Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and I want to talk about F. Wesley Schneider's brilliant new Dragonlance, right? Which is really replacing the Hickman-Weiss Dragonlance we had for a long time, and is bringing kind of a fresh new flow to Dragonlance. So I want to talk about Vogler today. Vogler is a quaint little fishing town. Where is it? All right, so Dragonlance is the setting. Krynn is the world. Ansalon is the continent. On the continent of Ansalon is Solamnia. Solamnia is a ancient land of adventure, an ancient nation, right? And actually, not a nation, a kingdom, right? And a realm, right? An ancient kingdom, right? And actually, am I right about that? No, we better say an ancient realm, right? An ancient, actually, specifically, the words in the book are an ancient land of knights and heroes, okay? So it's in Solamnia, and then it is in the province of the Hinterlund, the Solamnic province of the Hinterlund, okay? And then you reach Vogler, and Vogler is this quaint little fishing village, right? And it is downstream from Calamon, and that stream is the Vingard River, right? The River Vingard, okay? So I want to talk about Vogler today, and I want to talk specifically about Vogler's relationship to the Ironclad Regiment, all right? So F. Wesley Schneider brings forward Dragonlance and says Dragonlance matters today. That is not the case that is really not the case in every Dungeons & Dragons setting. Not every Dungeons & Dragons setting is going to make its way back, right? And by the way, I've been talking about Karator and Rokugan, and actually, I'll tell you right now, I actually don't have. I used to have a high. I used to be like, "Where's this setting? Where's that setting?" The reality is, I'm not sure we're even remotely short on Dungeons & Dragons settings, right? We have Forgotten Realms. We have Greyhawk. And by the way, if you're not aware of this, Greyhawk has simply been injected into Forgotten Realms. Greyhawk really doesn't exist in modern Dungeons & Dragons. Greyhawk has some incredibly awesome elements, which are just right now being injected into modern Forgotten Realms, right? And Forgotten Realms, Faerun, is the default setting of Dungeons & Dragons currently. However, I think Dragonlance may be so incredibly well structured that it could literally replace the Forgotten Realms as the default setting in the future. But we also have Exandria, and that is Matthew Mercer's D&D canon setting, right? And I've been hearing some absolutely outrageously ridiculous statements that the Amazon deal would make Critical Role leave Dungeons & Dragons. That is ridiculously absurd. Matthew Mercer is quite certain that the OSE and the Pathfinder are never going to give him stories that people are literally going to watch, millions of streams of. Those junk games have never proven anything except that they are secondary subs to Dungeons & Dragons, right? So, by the way, my character sheet, right? The character sheet from mycomicbook.com has the most anti-D&D coverage I have seen from, in my humble opinion, they are the number one most anti-D&D D&D news coverage site I have ever seen, ever. They have the most slanted, outrageous, just horribly biased anti-D&D coverage I have ever seen on any channel, in my humble opinion. Absolutely atrocious, and frankly, as we begin to treat D&D commentary as news coverage, I think what they're doing is absolutely appalling, right? Like, they present themselves as an objective source, but they are so outrageously anti-D&D. I'm getting off topic. Let me return to Vogler. Sorry, thank you. All right, so Vogler, right? So Vogler is this really cool, quaint little fishing village, and they are genuinely beneficial to people who come in, people who don't have an agenda and are trying to hurt them. They are beneficial to them, and the book literally says it, right? It says, like, this is a helpful village, right? They will benefit you if they can. right? If you're a sojourner or if you're just an adventurer, when you come into Vogler, they want to help, right? So what I really love is Vogler's relationship with the Ironclad Regiment. Let's talk about the Ironclad Regiment, because this is a brilliant addition from F. Wesley Schneider, right? Really, really, I've never seen anything like this. So first of all, he's like, hey, Vogler is this quaint little fishing village. They have protections that have been given to them. So one, Solamnia itself, right, this ancient land, has sent them an actual a Knight of Solamnia, right? And so there is a Knight of Solamnia that is actually positioned by Solamnia in their city in Vogler, which is a village, right? Positioned there to help aid Vogler, to protect Vogler, right? And that Knight of Solamnia is actually aided by another knight who's a knight in training, and that's Darrett, right? So you have these two Solamnic knights, but in addition to that, the Vogler Militia, and that is the actual fishermen and the fishermen, the fisherwomen, the townspeople actually have a militia, and they're trying to specifically protect Vogler, but they don't know how to do it. So they hire this Ironclad Regiment, right? So the Ironclad Regiment, who are they? This is absolutely fascinating. I was really fascinated by this. Absolutely brilliant. Check this out. So this Ironclad Regiment is led by a female dwarf captain by the name of Captain Cudgel. Okay, and so she leads the Ironclad Regiment mercenary group. Okay, it's a mercenary troop. Okay, and she has Jayev, who is one of her scout commanders, and she also has a half ogre commander as well, right? And then she has a whole bunch of mercenaries, right? And they are specifically teaching the people of Vogler to fight as a militia, right? And so they have one Solamnic knight, and that knight has a knight in training with her, right, who is Darrett. And then they have the Ironclad Regiment. The Vogler militia is learning to fight using the Ironclad Regiment, which is a mercenary group. Now, what's different about this? Well, this is the first time I have ever seen in a good, well-crafted tabletop role-playing game where mercenaries are treated as a good group, a good aligned group, right? Almost always mercenaries are considered almost like bandits and thieves and like they have a lot of cowardice, and you pay them your coin and then they run when the fight comes up. And that is completely changed by F. Wesley Schneider. And he's like, hey, this Dragonlance is different, right? And he shows that with this really brilliant story crafting. And I absolutely love the Ironclad Regiment, and I love the concept that the Vogler militia is learning to fight on their own, trained by mercenaries. That's a really different concept. F. Wesley Schneider's Dragonlance is absolutely brilliant. Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is really elevating a classic Dungeons & Dragons setting to a new level, and helping us leave behind some of the prejudice and stubbornness that was injected by Weissman and Hick into Dragonlance. And I'm really fascinated by old good. Dragonlance was good when it was wrote, right? But now it's great under F. Wesley Schneider's restructuring and reforming of the infrastructure itself. All that is my humble opinion. I'm ready to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments. Send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.